The passage is about an American whaling ship called Dolphin, whose remains were found off the coast of Argentina, and the author saying how they are figuring out, or how they have figured out that these remains of the ship, in fact, are or indeed are the remains of the American whaling ship Dolphin. I'll quickly read through the passage, summarizing the main points, and then we'll look at the questions. In October 1858, an American whaling ship named the Dolphin set sail from Rhode Island and never returned home. Now, archaeologists believe that they've identified the lost ship off a coast of far southern Argentina, according to a new study in the journal Dendrochronologia. Dendrochronologia is the study of the age of a tree based on the annular rings in its bark, or the trunk. It's fascinating that people built this ship in a New England town so long ago, it turned up on the other side of the world, says Mukund Rao, a dendrochronologist. The remains of an unknown. So, how did this whole process come about? The remains of an unknown shipwreck first emerged from the sediment near the coastal town of Puerto Madryn in 2004. So, they found the remains of a ship, okay, in a coastal town. Over the course of the next several years, okay, it took many years, archaeologists excavated the site, found the artifacts that suggested that the vessel might be the Dolphin. So after that, they figured out, and they said, you know what, after several years, archaeological excavations and all, they said this might be that ship which never came back in 1858, the Dolphin. However, they couldn't be sure, and they continued to sift through historical documents in search of clues for the ship's identity. Is there any way, is it any factor that we should be looking for to find out which ship this is, whether it is really the Dolphin or not? In 2019, the researchers had an idea. What if they looked at the tree rings of the vessel's timber, the wood that is used in the ship? What if we look at the tree rings and determine the age and origins of the wood used in the ship? Then from there, they can determine the age and origin of the ship. The scientists used a chainsaw to cut several sections of vessel, which they sent off for analysis. They compared the wreck's timber to a database of 30,000 trees dating back more than 2,000 years. They determined that the vessel's timber, the wood, came from white oak and old growth pine trees. So they figured out that this wood is either from white oak trees or from pine trees. Comparing the wood to samples from specific regions, they also could verify that the pine came from Alabama, Georgia, or northern Florida regions. That sent lots of pine timber to the northern states in the 19th century, and the white oak likely came from Massachusetts. So they determined that the oak must have come from these places that used to anyway send a lot of wood to the northern states, and the pine and the oak came from Massachusetts. But what really convinced, so therefore they said, okay, this is the origin of the wood. But what really convinced the researchers was the fact that the trees had been cut in 1849, which aligns with the Dolphin's construction timeline. Around that time, the Dolphin was being constructed. I was really excited, said a dendrochronologist at Argentina's Laboratory of Dendrochronology. Okay, and he says that the last ring corresponds to 1849, and knowing that the Dolphin was launched in 1850, you say you're really very close. So the wood, the trees were cut in 1849, Dolphin was launched in 1850. That really brings it really close to this wood being, this ship being Dolphin. For centuries, large vessels roamed round the world's oceans in search of whales. They hunted the massive marine mammals for their blubber, from which they extracted oil to use for lighting lamps and making soaps, as well as their bones, the bones of the whales, which were handy for making corsets, children's toys, and other household items. Throughout the 20th century, whalers killed an estimated 2.9 million whales, which led to the catastrophic decline of worldwide populations. Despite a global moratorium or a ban on whale hunting, whaling continues in certain countries like Japan, Iceland, and Norway. Throughout the 1850s, the 325-ton Dolphin roamed round the Atlantic and Indian Oceans Venturing through the Azores and around the Horn of Africa, the ship set off what would be its last voyage in 1858. Based on letters and historical accounts, it likely crashed in Golfo Nuevo off the coast of Patagonia, the region that is now shared by Argentina and Chile. So they've used correspondence to figure out that the last letter that was sent. Based on that, they said it must have crashed around this time, around the area Patagonia, which is now shared by Argentina and Chile. Despite this, the scientists cannot rule out the possibility that the sunken ship is some other American whaler, not necessarily the dolphin. It might be some other American whaler, because so many ships used to go and hunt for whales. They also are quick to point out, so this is the people who are detracting the dendrochronology theory. They also are quick to point out that dendrochronological findings do not constitute definitive proof. It's not the last word. It's not the final element of proof that, yes, this confirms beyond doubt. That's what is definitive. And they've not discovered more conclusive evidence. So this is all the evidence they have. We need more conclusive, definitive evidence. Like the ship's bell, right? Ship's bell normally has the name or the name on the hull. So the bell, the hull, these are more definitive proof, more conclusive evidence of the ship's identity. It's highly likely that the vessel, however, this is the author's last word. However, it's likely, highly probable that the vessel is the Dolphin, and the researchers finally solved the decades-old mystery. Which of the following does nothing to indicate that the remains of the ship found near Argentina are that of the Dolphin? That means three options are proof that the remains are the Dolphins. Which one does not do anything? It neither proves nor disproves. Which option is that? The provenance, the origin of the timber found in the remains, the origin shows that it belongs to either Georgia, those states, or Massachusetts, which used to send timber to the northern states, which used to make ships. So the origin of the timber is evidence of the dolphins' identity. A study of correspondence also shows that it was the time the ship, when did the ship crash? It probably crashed in the region of Patagonia. So the correspondence can also be used as point, are also clues to the uh, remains being that of the dolphin. The fact that the dolphin set sail from Rhode Island, well, many ships, many whaler ships set sail from Rhode Island. So the fact that the dolphin set sail from Rhode Island is not evidence that these remains that were found off the coast of Argentina belong to the dolphin, right? So C is my correct answer.